You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. These are your game recaps and standing updates from Tuesday, March the 31st, 2020. Starting in the AL East, a Red Sox-Orioles game that very simply had the Red Sox winning thanks to a 3-run top of the third inning. The Red Sox have now won their first game of the 2020 season. Yankees beat the Rays 9-3 thanks to some strong offense. The Rays could only muster runs in that bottom of the seventh inning. Chirinos got the loss on the mound. A highly anticipated game tomorrow. The Yankees will have Garrett Cole on the mound facing former Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell. Reds Blue Jays in an interleague baseball game. The Reds continue to struggle this season, still with only one win through their first 5 games. The Blue Jays continue their hot streak as one of the top teams in the American League East after winning Game 2 of this series. American League Central game. Indians and White Sox in another close game, except this time the White Sox were the one chasing the Indians. The Indians got out to an early 4-0 lead, and the White Sox, despite sprinkling some ones there toward the end of the game, could not come back and beat the Indians. Brad Hand now has 3 saves on the season. This is his second one of the series. AL West matchup, Astros Athletics playing each other, a high-scoring game. You see there a 5-run spot put up by the Astros in the fourth, while the Athletics scored 4 runs. The Astros just edged over the Athletics in this game, despite the Athletics getting 17 hits as a team. Twins-Mariners. Twins pull out a win against the Mariners, and the Mariners continuing to struggle this year. Taylor Rogers, however, with the Twins, after blowing a couple saves prior to this game, gets his first save as the closer of the Twins. American League West game, Rangers-Angels, and the Angels are struggling to start 2020. The Rangers, however, kind of in the middle of the AL West right now. Offense was the highlight of this game, scoring 4 runs in that bottom of the 5th, 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th, and won 8-2. Over to the NL East, the Marlins and the Nationals playing in a game. Marlins doing very well so far to start the 2020 season. Despite trailing 2-0 going to the bottom of the 8th, they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th and then closed the game out thanks to a Kinsler save, his second now of the season. Ryan Stanek gets the win out of the bullpen for the Marlins, and Will Harris getting hit with his first loss as a part of the Washington Nationals. Another NL East game, the Phillies edged the Mets 5-1. A premier pitching matchup between starters Aaron Nola and Michael Wacha. However, Nola wins this game after getting shelled. Literally shelled in his last appearance, but now 1-1, and Michael Wacha starts his year 0-1. Just made his debut with the Mets in that game. NL Central game, the Chicago Cubs came out and beat the Pittsburgh Pirates. Only scored in 2 innings, but were able to win. The Pirates now in trouble in the NL Central. Were once toward the top, now in the middle of the division after 2 games played against the Cubs. High-scoring game here. Another NL Central game. Cardinals and Brewers. Brewers edge the Cardinals 12-11, and you just see the score line there. Several runs scored. Cardinals got out early with a 5 spot, but the Brewers shortly tied the game in the second. They went back and forth all game, but the Brewers came out on top despite the Cardinals getting 15 team runs in that game. Claudio gets the win out of the bullpen. Brebbia with the loss, and Josh Hader now with 3 saves on the season with the Brewers. One of Major League Baseball's virtual network's games of the day, Madison Bumgarner started on the mound against his former team, the San Francisco Giants. Bumgarner's injury was not very severe, and he was healthy enough to make this next start. And this game didn't scare fans. He made it through the whole start and ended up getting the win. This was an offensive-packed game. The Giants struck first at the top of the 5th inning, but the Diamondbacks were able to spot him 4 in the bottom half, and the Giants really couldn't recover, losing 6-3. Rockies Dodgers NL West game. This was also one of our games of the day here on MLB Virtual Network. The Dodgers had this one pretty handily. The Rockies only scored their runs in the ninth inning, but Max Muncy went off hitting a couple home runs in this game, and the Dodgers offense showed well today. Alex Wood, in his first start back with the Dodgers, is 1-0 in the starting rotation, and German Marquez now 0-1 after not having the best of starts. And this National League matchup, Braves from the East, the Padres from the West. It was a close game mostly throughout, but was decided in the fourth inning. Looking at the final line score, the Padres were able to strike first, but then the Braves just piled on some runs. And near the back half of the game, won 4-1, despite the Padres getting 16 hits as compared to the Braves' 5. Mike Soroka, first official win of the season. Chris Paddock hit with a loss. And Will Smith gets his second save now as a part of the Atlanta Braves. And here come the standings for you. Starting in the American League East, the Blue Jays off to a hot start. Split the series now with the Reds and swept the Red Sox to begin the season. They're now 5-1 in 6 games. Orioles are 3-2 on the season, tied with the New York Yankees. Tampa Bay Rays 1-4, struggling this season. The Red Sox got their first win today, now 1-5 on the season. Over to the American League Central, Cleveland Indians have broken out now, are in first place early this season, 4-1 record after beating the White Sox again today. The White Sox are now 3-2 after losing 2 straight to the Indians. The Twins able to win a game today, now 2-4, and then the Royals and Tigers stuck toward the bottom with 1-3 records this season to start. American League West, the Rangers 4-1 to start the year, hot start for them. The Athletics and Astros tied for second place with 4-2 records after the Astros beat the Athletics today. Mariners 2-4, and the Angels struggling to start this season, now 1-4 to begin the 2020 season. Wild card standings not as prevalent yet, but 2 losses now is the minimum. Each team in the American League has now at least lost 1 game, and you see the top teams in the American League from this list. Now to the National League. The National League East, Marlins and Braves tied for first place right now with 4-2 records. Marlins on a 2-game winning streak now. Braves tied for first as well. Phillies 3-3 record in third place in the National League East, and then tied for last, the Nationals and the Mets, each with 2-3 records to start 2020 through 6 games. Actually, 2 of them have only played 5 games to this point. Nonetheless, here's the National League Central. The Brewers, after beating the Cardinals today, are now 4-1 in the National League Central. Cardinals have now fallen to 3-2 after losing 2 straight to the Brewers. The Pirates in the same boat, losing 2 to the Cubs now. Or no, losing 1 to the Cubs. Now 3-2 in the division. Cubs 2-3. And the Reds, slow start to the year, but were able to get 1 win at least against the Blue Jays yesterday, but at the bottom of the division with a 1-4 record. And the National League West, San Diego Padres 4-2 start the year. Giants 3-2, Dodgers 3-2, Diamondbacks 2-4, and Rockies 1-5 have now lost 2 straight. And for the wild card standings now, not that these are prevalent, however, those are your top teams in the National League, and we've already have a couple division leaders, so not every team there is listed because division leaders don't qualify for wild card standings. So that explains that. Don't forget, coming up toward the end of April, there will be category leader announcements, so stick around for that, but right now it's just too early to really take a look at who's leading what, because everybody's still at pretty close range in all the categories. But I'm Nicholas Catlis. This was your game recaps and standing updates. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.